I did try and shorten that intro as much as I could. Oh, my guard's not in the way. I am Couch Coop. This is a celebration of Days Gone on the PlayStation 5. It's its true home in my eyes. Brilliant visuals, brilliant frame rates, and a single player campaign that's probably unrivaled on the zombie front with the Sony side of things. Let's concentrate for a minute on these silky smooth frame rates and also the comparisons with the PlayStation 4 Pro edition. That's the one that I've played the most, and I'm doing both campaigns alongside each other. I'll tell you this now, on the PlayStation 4 Pro, right, the thing is about 8 feet away from me, and you know the airplane taking off analogy? It's like being at an air show. It is so loud on fan, right? Not even on the menus or when something's loading up, which can be a big culprit. The whole time it's going like a hairdryer. It's unreal, and it is really putting off. Even if you've got your headphones on, the machine does not shut up. On the 5, it even whizzes a little bit on intro, but then it settles down. So this game is obviously employing some major power. I wanted to remind you all that this game sold 9 million copies, okay, and it was a system exclusive. It hasn't been earmarked for a sequel. That is nothing short of super suspect, and I aim to make this video a big bunch of reasons why that sequel should happen and how crazy it is that it hasn't been put onto the roadmap for Sony ASAP. It's a ridiculously good game, this, and it also pushes on to, a bit like the Starfield review recently, the single player offline content, not a single micro, you don't have to sign into anything, you haven't got EA breathing down your neck, none of that. You are completely escaping into this amazingly built world. As you can see, I tried really hard to get the performance to judder or show some sort of discrepancies with frame rates when there's a lot of zombies on screen. This game explores the idea of a Left 4 Dead amount of zombies in a full-on open world, brilliant forest, national park aesthetic. It's beautiful, and you keep finding like little picnic areas. Also, the ballistics and the blood splatter is ridiculously technically good, given the back of the head stuff appearing on furniture behind the zombie that you're killing. This is detail that I didn't notice first time around, and having it on the 5 and not having to panic with the hairdryer going off or the frame rates being a little bit below 50 does very much feel like new territory. If you stepped off the PlayStation 4 Pro, or the last time you played this was on the PlayStation 4 Pro, which is fair enough because 2019 also got discounted on the store a while back, it feels like a flawless current gen experience. Also, being on the HD drive and not the SSD, because this isn't an official PlayStation 5 game by any stretch. It did have a performance optimization patch come in, but my point being, the load screens are tiny compared to the PlayStation 4 Pro edition. It really rattles through everything, and I know that's part of the backwards thing, but it's super noticeable if you're playing these two games alongside each other on the different systems. I should probably briefly explain what this game's all about. It's a little bit like the Mad Max model. We've got an open world and a companion vehicle, right? This thing gets you out of trouble, it gets you to traverse everywhere easily and quickly, but it also takes damage, and it also needs refueling, which is one of the biggest headaches. That bike does about 12 miles to the gallon, and as you can see, there's all manner of stuff that randomizes in the map events that just ruin your plan. The bike needs repairing if a sniper hits you, and you'll also get accosted by a couple of brutish enemies. That brings me up to his absolutely flawless combat system.
Gotcha, you son of a bitch. No more ambushing. They are free! Released!
It has a lot in common with The Last of Us and Uncharted, and also Remnant, would you believe, giving that melee attack full R2 control, but when you want to use your weapon, L2 first, you go into aim. It's brilliant to be able to switch between the two without having to use a face button. It also features some perfect sneak attack and creeping up vibes that you would see in something like The Last of Us or even Uncharted, and just everything feels solid. Death animations, impact animations, loot drops, the size of the camps themselves, the way the AI communicates, your cover position and switching to melee or range on the fly, even crafting when you're getting chased down to provide a solution when you swing round and shoot them all.
Someone's down!
The human-on-human stuff is really good and top-notch, and I look forward to it just as much as I do fighting huge swathes of zombies. Now let's talk about the story a little bit. It does do a little bit of a Last of Us Part 1 and dump you right in the middle of an unraveling sort of situation, but then it sort of flashes back and flashes forward, and it does show you on a minimal level how this whole world came about and who's responsible, but it's brilliantly done. It's not shoved down your throat, and you can sort of get away with it if you don't want to sit through lengthy cutscenes. Another thing, you can skip all cutscenes, so having this playing twice on 2 systems was super easy. You're also seeing some great max pain bullet time slowdown, and that's a very early perk to purchase, and it's kind of essential if you want to enjoy the game from a range point of view. But going through the 2 playthroughs, not choosing that early doors, going for something that repairs maybe your bats and doing the crafting, putting nails into things, there's so many directions with those perks. These AI bikers. Not every NPC or human enemy is perfectly coded. The game does have a little bit of jank in there. It's very few and far between, and the quality of the pacing with all of the different enemies that you're introduced to as you gather momentum in that campaign is phenomenal. You get bigger camps, larger traps and foes to deal with, and of course these infestation areas. They're crazy. There's nests in there, they're full of twigs, you've got to set light to them all. You have to find 3. Sometimes that minimap can confuse the hell out of you, but it's cool hunting down these various hives almost of zombie infestation. It does, I think, have a little bit of cheeky auto-aim when you go on L2. It's not distracting and it's very difficult to detect. It also loves the idea of noise. The noise that you're making, the noise that your bike makes, and if you put explosions out, that does attract massive amounts of zombies in that area. If you do it near a horde, oh my god, it's all over. And the whole river of zombies will come straight through that combat zone. That's another cool area, is that the zombies are not discriminative and will go for the enemies. The poor guys get themselves in a right panic with it all.
Those are great for them. Cemeteries are filled with those. Those who saw me call out the bullshit and the lies when they saw it. I know, because they came after me. I started Radio Free Oregon in the last weeks before the feds fell. Broadcast from an unmarked van, moving from town to town, in the days before the Rose King.
It does have that organic ecosystem feel, and I loved the idea of those randomized events being in different places. Someone's trapped in a car, or there's a horde around a building, you've got to sort of save the day. They were mixed up really well through the different playthroughs that I played on parallel. So almost a procedural section with some of those rewards, and where they're putting some of these crazy in-game random events. There is also close quarters weapon degradation, and I like the way it's approached. They leave you a lot of options, including table legs and little hatchets, and you can also get the perk to sort of start putting nails into things. You know the deal, we had the same stuff with State of Decay. It's really cool to have that area explored and have to switch out stuff constantly because you've smashed too many zombies in with it. Also a bit of kudos to this travelling and traversal. I love how the bike is done, giving you an option to do skids. It leans over on corners. It does feel like a dirt bike. It has got that lovely 4-stroke engine and the stuff you can start bolting onto it. I've got a squid tank going on, and you can add new frames, even make it quieter so that neutral doesn't attract any surrounding zombies. It's very deep, and as a companion piece, it's genius. It also does not hold back on trying to scare you. That tunnel is always needed to be gone through, and there's different random zombies in it every time. The flashlight works really well, and it all bounces off on the muzzle flare when you do get a shot in. It's very atmospheric, and I love the idea of it all happening every time you have to go over to the other side of the map. That crafting system, which is straight out of Horizon 1, what I mean is you can bring up a wheel, the game slows down so you can still see what's going on in the background. You can select an item, even sub-menu menus and then just start crafting that as you leave the option menu. All can happen in a couple of seconds, and it makes you feel quite empowered, and you can change your tactics mid-fight, i.e. go for some Molotovs or start building some more health because you're taking loads of damage. Let's talk about that difficulty very quickly, because for me it's kind of pitch perfect. If you stick to the campaign structure and the submissions, you'll be fine. If you start wandering off, a little bit like that Generation Zero, you will find some massive OP enemies or even the Horde wandering around. So it's nice, it's on medium, it will push you back if you don't dance to its tune, but at the same time it's a great tune to dance to, with brilliant crafting materials everywhere, a search Assassin's Creed style button allowing you to see hidden stuff. You'll be in bunkers and start making Molotovs out of kerosene. It's a brilliant loop, and the reward is phenomenal because you get to go back to very cool hubs and start working for particular teams, getting the trust up, opening the merchants. You guys know the deal. Healthy, stealthy as well, making it really important to not use up your ammunition. So if you see these things wandering around, they're highly likely to put their back to you, and the circle for detection is not that great. But if you're making loads of noise or blowing something up, they will soon come over. But it's very cool to sort of pick off stuff from the outside before you go in to face the meat of the problem, which is normally about 5 or 6 of them in the centerpiece of an arena setup or school. That's the other cool thing. Hotels, garages. The zombies are taking over a lot of the normal structures, and that's a real sweet spot for me. Fire is also used perfectly, with a big emphasis on letting them burn, Saving Private Ryan style, and the fact that they are fearful of it. They will run round it. They're not completely daft, and if you throw a Molotov down and they're charging you, they'll split and just walk right round the damn thing. It's well frustrating, but at the same time you're like, these things are not as stupid as they look. There is one thing that might freak some of you out, and that's you can't turn the voice off from the pad. Sometimes you find these like data sort of information packs, and it will just be some woman screaming through the pad. You can't turn the volume down. There's nothing. You had to put it under a cushion at one point. I'm pretty sure if I dig deep enough, it will be there, but just watch out for that one. If you've got the TV on low, you don't want to wake up the kids, and you pick up one of these packs, you will wake up the kids. This particular event, random in inverted commas, had a different NPC get out of it when I found it on my other playthrough, and it also wasn't in this spot, so I enjoyed that. It opened my eyes to a bit to how different other people's playthroughs can actually pan out to be. Also, you can get knocked off your bike. You can also get hunted by wolves who can technically go damn fast, but these jump scares.
Runs for the camp. I just wanted to say thank you.
That is totally how you do it, and every time you get on that bike, or every time you see a new mission marker or get something fresh from your NPC friends at the hub, you are just dying to go and sort it out, murder a whole bunch of zombies and maybe get some cool newer loot. Why on earth have you not sequeled this game? It's flawless, there's no problems with it. It's up there with Remnant 2. There's a lot of sequels out there that didn't sell 9 million copies on their first edition. Sony, you need to sort this one out. I have been Couch Coop. I will see you down there.